Hello, everyone, and welcome to And That's Why We Drink, the podcast where we tell each other spooky stories and just yap and yap until our throats are sore.
Yap and yap till we don't give a crap.
That's right. We just talked about how that word was really banned in our house. That word crap.
Oh, that was the word that I learned. That was the first bad word I was allowed to say at 10, and
Oh, I see.
I abused that quite a
You've
lot.
used that power. Yeah, my stepmom said that was worse than she's like, you can say shit all you want, but please don't say the C word around me. Little did I know there would be a new C word.
A
I'm sure
new
she
C
would have
word,
hated
yeah.
that one much worse.
I wonder what crap meant to her. What happened with
She
what
also didn't let me
happened?
say restroom because she said we're not truckers, and I was like, oh, okay. She
Is
said
she
it's
okay?
called no. Did you? Sorry, were you not aware of that?
Sorry, your stepmom. Okay, yeah, sorry.
It's called. She said it's the powder room, and I said
Powder room.
okay.
Okay. That no one uses powder anymore, babe. Oh wait,
Or
I
the
guess maybe people
ladies.
do. Like a setting powder, maybe. I don't know. Don't people spray that on now? I know nothing about today's makeup.
What if I just became a trucker and then I said now I can say restroom all I want?
Actually, that'd be such a fun little twist of events.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a neighbor and their mom like had some weird fucking problem with if you would hiccup. Like
Hiccups,
she thought it was on purpose. She like for some reason to her hiccups were like if you burped openly at the
girl.
table.
Has she
It's
never
like
had a
that's what I'm
hiccup
saying.
before?
I
It
was like, "Are you
sucks.
new? Like that's not something you can control." But she had a big fucking problem with it. Like it wasn't funny. Like if you hiccuped, you had to leave the table.
Wow.
Anyway, couldn't be me.
I was gonna
Um,
say, well, I'm sure you never hiccuped around her.
no. Once I found that out, I was like, I'm terrified of standing next to you because you never know what's gonna happen either. It's like a drive by. It's like, all of a sudden you've
And
just
then
got a
it's
big
like,
old hiccup,
yeah,
and
I
then
don't
then you can't stop.
it's just the worst feeling. Especially when you drink like two drinks and you're not drunk yet, but you start hiccuping and then you're like, now I look like a fool. Now I can't like now every time I talk, I go like, "Ugh," and then I look like a drunk. It really is
Also,
frustrating.
I've talked to you before about how my hiccups sound. Right? They don't sound like normal hiccups.
I don't remember. Is it
They
that you
sound like
scream?
like bird squawks. Yeah.
That's probably why I would also ban you from my house if I knew you, and I do.
Well,
So
she's
you're banned.
lucky.
You're officially banned.
She's lucky she never heard it, but it's terrifying. Anyway, oh, why
She
do you
heard it.
drink?
So she probably heard of it. She was like, "Oh, I got to ban this before it gets, out of control."
That would be so embarrassing to find that out years
If
later.
it was just you all along, you're the only one who got that rule. No, I'm certain that's not it.
Why do you drink
Oh,
this week, Christine?
well, I drink. I'm mostly just thinking about your life these days because your life is so exciting.
Mine.
But I don't know because of just like developments. So I don't know if we're even allowed to talk about that. Are we allowed to talk about that yet or no?
Oh, I see what's happening here. We adopted Hank.
Not Em and me, but everyone else.
Can you imagine? That would be the funny. That's a
We
plot
adopt. It's a
twist.
shared custody.
I thought about announcing it by having him like coming on the camera with like a
Oh,
bandana that says I'm adopted or whatever,
so
but
the problem
then
is
that would
people,
mean he's here in the room, and that's the worst version of
and
him
that's
is when I'm
that's the
recording.
one big thing we're trying to figure out. Well, also,
But
people were
yes.
starting people were starting to notice because people would call in, and the place would be like, "Oh no, he's been adopted already." So surprise, the rumors are true.
I didn't even know people were finding out. I thought people just finally backed
I
off of
think that was
asking me
just
every 5 seconds.
I think that was just Megan said, "Huh, I got this DM," and we were like, "That's odd." And then the next day, you were like, "Guess what? I have news." Um, I'm very excited about it.
Uh, I'm terrified, but I'm happy, but I'm terrified. I don't
You're
know.
happy but terrified. I mean, that feels like parenthood.
I feel like that's a fair thing to say. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sit here and color it as like I'm the most excited in the whole world. I'm actively grieving the lack of freedom or the freedom that's been taken away because all of a sudden it happens overnight. Now I'm like, oh well, I can't go out and do this thing. I'm trying to like now that we're about to not be on tour. I was like planning on never being home so I could like go explore and travel. And now I've got to like be home at least a little regularly. So in that way, I have been talking to my therapist where I'm like, oh,
Oh,
this
good.
sucks. But other than that, I think that's the only beef I got with it. And
Who's
usually I've got a list of grievances
is a list of grievances. Hank's a big list. Is he is Allison there with him now?
for like a hot second. And then she's doing her 3-month trek away.
I
But
keep
then
waiting for you to tell me that was a prank that you're pulling on me. But or
I
that
keep
Allison's
waiting for
pulling
her
on
to
you.
tell me it's a
Yeah,
prank.
maybe
It's not. Uh, the
You
only,
guys are
I
out
mean,
of your mind. What are you thinking, dude? Y'all are out of your mind.
for Allison leaving, that was not my call at all.
I know. I know.
That was not my call at all. But I think I have to grapple with the fact that like it's now going to be an expensive thing to keep my original way of being, because if I want to travel now I have to think about the additional cost of like either boarding him or having someone come stay with them. So
Yeah.
um that's
Yep.
that's
That's the
the
life. That's the grown up
biggest
life.
downside. Everything else is good so far. Of course, the day we adopted him, we were like, "Yay, let's see how long we can like not mess up." And then he started throwing up for like 4 days and had pink eye. It's like he found out he could finally be himself.
See? It's like when we get home from tour and we realize we don't have any more shows and then we just like fall ill with every type of disease we haven't
Yeah.
let ourselves get sick with.
I signed the papers and all of a sudden he just I signed the papers and as of yesterday he's now a humper at the dog park. I'm
Oh
like,
my
what the fuck
God.
is that? One of the reasons we got you is because you weren't a humper, and now all of a sudden I think he's feeling real comfy over there too.
Hank
So
the Humper, that's what they call him.
that's what I'm terrified of. I don't want to be known as like the person with the humping dog, but um,
I'm sure
I
you
don't
will
know.
not. Other dogs do that. Don't worry. It's not that abnormal. It's a
I
dominance thing.
thought we got away with it because for 3-4 months of having him, he's never done it once, and now he's doing it every time we go. So I'm like, is it puberty? I don't know. He's neutered. I don't know what's going on.
They figure it out, and I don't know. Yeah,
I
sometimes.
hate it.
Sometimes. Yeah, I mean
Anyway,
nobody likes it. So
I am very excited that he's with us. I'm just at the same time realizing what that means. So I have been overwhelmed, but that's fine.
mhm.
Weirdly, the thing that doesn't overwhelm me is his high energy. That part we like figured out a routine for him and everything, and
Oh,
that's
good.
so if we could
Do you
figure
have to
that
walk
out.
6 miles a day? Is that feels like what you said you had to do, and it sounded like a nightmare. I hope you found a workaround.
We got it down to walking a mile a day and still an hour and a half at the dog park. But
Oh,
like
cool.
I said, at the dog park, I've built a bit of a community, so that doesn't feel too miserable. Um,
Yeah,
the walking in the morning is not my favorite, but I'm very lucky that we have a dog that lets us sleep in. So really, it's whenever I get up, I
that's
just have to
good
walk
too.
him.
Yeah.
Um, we're figuring it out. Still have this cough too, by the way, so that's another reason I drink. Why do you
Man.
drink, Christine? Besides me
Oh,
now
I
being a
just couldn't.
parent,
I mean, I just on Mother's Day, texted out and I was just like about to cry about it. It just made me so happy.
why?
Because it was so sweet that like she has a puppy now, and Allison, you can text Allison on Mother's Day and be like, this is Hank," you know.
Yeah, I did it to be
It was
annoyingly
so
sweet, but I
sweet.
promise I don't actually equate dogs to
No,
babies.
no, no. I didn't mean it like
Okay.
that. I just meant no. It was so sweet. You were like, I had Hank tell Allison Happy Mother's Day. I mean, literally, you were one of the first people to tell me. Em has like a whole like schedule on Mother's Day. Like, let me tell everyone
I
a Happy
do.
Mother's Day. So that was part of a much bigger. I didn't mean to paint it like you said. Allison was a mom now. I'm not saying that.
No,
But
no,
it was
you're
really
good.
cute. You were like, "Hello, is Hank?"
Oh, yeah, I called Allison, and when she answered, I went,
It's so
"Hang on, let
cute.
me patch you through," and then I went,
Oh,
"Boop, boop, 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 boop,
beep, beep,
boop,"
boop.
and then I went, "Hello, is this Allison? I just want to say Happy
Hello.
Mother's Day."
I
And
think it's so cute.
I said, "Don't look at me," because they were like sitting right next to each other. Like, "Don't look at me. I'm hiding my contraband phone. Don't look at me."
Don't look
So,
at me. I'm ventriloquism
y-
speaking into a
yes,
cell
100%.
phone. My contraband. Okay, anyway, I'm just really, really excited about it. It's a fun development. We needed some good news, on the
I like
podcast.
that your reason why you drink is because I got a dog.
Yeah,
Now,
because I was like, it's like killing me to not talk about it. And so I was like, I can't think of anything else that's bigger news in my life right now. I mean,
well, thank
what's
you.
the what's the other news? What amount? I mean, I don't know. I just got home and then I leave again, in 2 days.
Well,
I'm
how's your
basically
living
dying.
creature?
They're all alive, so that's good. Leona was like, "Don't leave me again," and I'm like, "Oh
Oh, that's
gosh."
heartbreaking. Girl, you'll get used to it. Uh,
Yeah,
not to
it's
be that
been
person, but
rough.
as someone, my mom traveled all the time when I was a kid. You really eventually just becomes second nature. It's just not like it's
Mm,
not a trauma. I don't think you have to worry about her having a complex one day.
yeah.
But I know in the moment it's sad.
It's just like, oh, the working parent, and she's like, "When do you get home from your?" I always bring her slime home, so like, it's really not that
She's
bad. She,
fine. She's
yeah, she's
fine.
fine.
I also think it's because she has Blaze there 24/7, so she can see what the other option is.
Oh
She's probably
yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
like,
this
and then
doesn't
I
make
tell
sense.
he doesn't believe me, but like he'll go out of town and she's like, "I don't want you, I want daddy." And Blaze is like, "She would never say that." I'm like, "Of course she does. She says that, grass is always greener." It's very true at that age too. But no, it's very
Well,
fun. She's just a delight. She's yesterday she said, "Hold on, let me get myself situated," and I was like, "Huh?" She like
damn.
every day she says shit where
See,
I'm like, "Where do you
you
come
are
up with this?"
obviously around enough in the house if she's saying shit like that
If she's
because
saying shit like that. That is true. That is fair. She's clearly picking something up from me. But apparently she asks Blaze sometimes she asks to listen to a podcast and they have a lot of kids podcasts now, which I think is super
oh,
cool. So like Work It Out Wombats, which Eva's partner Ray actually wrote for in the past. They have a podcast and it's like really fun. They have sound effects and like they're all talking and it's like super cute and I was like what a great thing to have. So if anyone out there with kids like show them the PBS has a lot. Well, for now,
mm.
RIP. But let's give them some support. There are a lot of good PBS podcasts and other like smaller shows. I
Do
just it's
you
so cool.
do you have a favorite kids podcast? Like one where like when
I
she asks, you're not so miserable about it.
I'm not real. Actually, I do love the Work It Out Wombats one.
Oh,
The
good.
Sesame Street one is annoying, but that's okay.
Really,
It's just like
really, in
I
their
don't
time
know,
of need,
sass. Yeah. I'm
Christine.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's another one. Maybe Daniel Tiger? I don't know. I can't think of who else has one, but um
That should be our
they're
next
pretty
venture. Is that we do scary stories for kids.
right. I mean, I that's not a bad idea.
Don't take that from us. We came up with
TM,
it first.
trademark, copyright
And that's why
infringement.
we play.
That's why we drink chocolate milk.
See, I've been manifesting it apparently since
Mhm.
2017. And that's why we
Mhm.
drink anything but alcohol. You're welcome,
I know.
everyone. That would be
You're
an easy
welcome.
transition. Let's get Maggie on the horn.
Maggie, beep beep. Let me patch you through. Beep boop, beep boop boop. Hello. Oh
Hello.
no, this is Hank. Sorry, I meant to call Maggie.
Wrong number. It's not Mr. Glitter Shoes. It's not Maggie. It's not Allison.
Squirtle shoes.
Oh gosh.
Oh, my
Well, I'm
baby.
glad that you're excited that I am a
I'm thrilled.
puppy parent. Christine already gave us our first gifts, which is very
Oh,
lovely.
they were
And
kind of lame. I'm sorry. I
no,
feel
they're
like.
not lame at all. Now Hank and I have matching clothes. Are you kidding me? That's like
I
what I've wanted
mean,
my whole
it was
life.
meant to be. I knew you were gonna buy it anyway, so I figured here's a gift card. You pick and choose your. I knew you had colors already selected. I wasn't a fool in that way.
You know me well. You know
Yeah,
me well. But yes, so I officially have a puppy. I'm glad that you're very excited because I think reality just kind of bitch slapped me. So
Oh, you
that's why
seemed pretty well aware of the risks before you adopted him, though. I feel like you were very
I
much like,
was
"Hey, this isn't. This is like the. This is what."
that's right. I mean, I didn't do it like willy nilly, but I knew what I was going to get into. But I think the finale, I don't know what the right word is, but when I signed the papers and it's like, oh no, turning back, I like had obviously a bit of a panic attack because that's who I am. But we're figuring it out. I am very happy he's with us. I would be devastated if he wasn't with us. I just have to adjust to the new
Yeah.
life, and it's tough, but I don't regret it. So I guess that's a
Yay.
good sign.
That is a
Um,
good sign. That's like the
I,
only real good sign.
it's the logistics of it all. Like if we're gonna record, and it's just like now someone has to watch him all the time because he's so obnoxious at the table.
No.
Things like that.
These two finally figured out their shit.
That's what I need. I need a little tranquilized puppy dog.
That's right. You need to wait like 6 years and then he'll calm down
Oh,
enough.
good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Anyway, so I guess I drink for the same reason you drink. We have a new member of the family, and that's that. So anything else we got to update people on? We're about to be done with our tour. When this comes out, we'll be done with our tour.
That's really wild.
That's
That's
really that's gonna be a sad day for me. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough, and especially because it's Boston, that feels so big, and then,
Hmm
right after that, it's like summertime and our birthdays, and it's just so weird that we're already like almost halfway through the year. It's really tripping me up a little bit.
Maybe for our Yappy Hour, we can announce to people where we went ghost hunting.
Oh, that's a great idea. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, we can finally talk about it. I love that.
Okay, great. Well, then everyone go sign up for Patreon right now. You have about an hour. And
Yeah, I
then
have
we'll
an hour. I mean, it'll still be there. This is not like a limited time run
No,
video
you
on
have an hour.
Patreon.
You get to
You have it
listen to
1
this,
hour.
and then in an
TikTok.
hour, when this is over, then you can hop right over to
I
Patreon. You're
love
welcome.
your optimism that this will be over in less than an hour, but we'll try. We'll try. Yeah, I love this new trend where we come up with the Yappy Hour in the opening. It's kind of fun. It like gives us something to
Look
jump
forward
off.
to.
Yeah, to jump into right after. I don't know. It's like an easier way to end the show.
Well, I do have a story for you, Christine. However, we are in Trosmo territory. I'm still in Phoenix, and I need to warn you that as soon as it gets good, I will have to go downstairs and get
The
my
FLT will
smoothie.
arrive.
And by the way, apparently, this is like the news Tony Chocolonely. So many people are tagging me with their Trosmo. I'm so excited. So anyway, tropical smoothie. I have loved you my whole life. Please sponsor us. Thank you so much.
I mean, one of them will stick someday. One of these will stick someday.
One of these. Tony wouldn't do it, so we stopped talking about
Starbucks
Tony.
didn't do it with your fucking.
Look, I mean, on these days, I guess I'm glad that I don't have a
I know.
partnership with Starbucks. But at
That
the
was
same
probably for the
time,
best. That was probably for the best.
you would think one tea company would be like, this is the moneymaker. Let's do something with this London fog. But nobody wants to fucking work with me. I'm not that horrible.
Finally, they get it.
Anyway, tropical
It could
smoothie.
be
If you would
because of
like
that
to give
thing.
me
It could be because of that letter I send out every time someone offers to work with you. Where I
tropical
say,
smoothie, ignore the letter.
"Are you sure? Here's a waiver, a liability waiver."
I
And
would
then
just
they're
like
"Never mind."
a lifetime supply of the blueberry bliss with extra strawberries. Sub the mango for banana. Thank you so much. Wait, sub the banana for mango. Don't fuck me up, tropical smoothie.
Oh no! For the
Don't you
rest
do
of your,
that.
that's the curse. That's like a
That'd be
Edgar
so
Allan Poe
mean.
type curse. Yeah,
It
the
would
wrong
be.
fruit in your smoothie for
I
the rest of your life. That's
finally
dark.
get the partnership, but I don't get the right recipe.
That could be the first story in our kids' scary.
Wait a
Or is it
minute.
maybe it's too scary.
It's certainly horrific.
It's
but
certainly life altering.
that is kind of like a Bluey lesson, isn't it? It's like kind of getting what you want, but not really.
Yeah.
I would have to learn first how to handle that before I could write about learning the lesson. That's the
Oh,
problem.
right. You're like the child in it, and then I'll come in and say, "Let's find ways to work through it," and then we can write it like that.
How do I gentle parent the phrase "get over it"? Because that's what I would have to do, right?
Get over it. Well, there's a lot of ways to do that nowadays. You could say, "We'll ask Dr. Becky," but you could say, "I'll sit with you while you process this."
Oh, okay. It honestly could just be a podcast where you say that, and then I cry, and then 45 minutes later, the episode's over.
Well, that's just like our day to day. Let's do it. Put a camera, put a
See?
microphone. We're in.
I'm telling you. And halfway through the tears, you'll just hear, I love Tropical Smoothie. They have the best blueberry bliss there has ever been. And then back to
Promo
my
code
crying.
drink. No, it'll be
Okay.
like something that's not tropical. It'll be like Smoothie King. It'll just be like the wrong brand.
That would hurt. That would
Yeah.
hurt. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I see. It says to go on a rant about previous sleep issues I've had. Well, I think we need to take the rest of the day off because I have so many that it'll probably take me 3 hours. But in the interest of time, I want to tell you that Helix, thank God, is really the only way I can sleep well now. I feel like so old when I go to hotels. I'm like, I miss my mattress. Like everything hurts when I don't sleep on my Helix mattress.
If I don't sleep exactly the right way in the exact right
Uh-huh.
place on the exact right thing, I will be a decrepit little skeleton the next day.
That's right. We really do. I remember buying my Helix mattress like when I first moved into the house. It was the first big purchase we made for the house, and it's still going strong. I'm sitting on it right now. I just love this thing. And they're just an awesome company. During the fires, they helped so many families, including people we know, by sending materials and supplies and comforting things. To help people rebuild their lives. So I just really thankful that Helix is a sponsor. and we just love them.
Go to helixsleep.com/drink for 27% off site-wide and a free bedding bundle, sheet set, and mattress protector for any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Exclusive for listeners of And That's Why We Drink.
That's helixsleep.com/drink for 27% off site wide and free bedding bundle, sheet set, and mattress protector with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Exclusive for listeners of And That's Why We Drink. helixsleep.com/drink.
Christine, I'm in the middle of an adventure right now, and yet I'm always craving a new adventure.
That's the most M thing I ever heard. Well, I have good news for you, M. Even when you're on your own adventures, you can take another kind of adventure with Audible because Audible delivers thrills of every kind on your command. From electrifying suspense and daring quests to spine tingling horror and romance in far off realms, and also the haunted road atlas. Just
All of
throwing
it.
that in the list. Yeah.
You can unleash your adventurous side with gripping titles that keep you guessing, exclusive, captivating Audible originals, hotly anticipated new releases, and must-listen bestsellers that hook you from the first minute.
Plus, discover big releases like Frida McFadden's The Tenant. Love Frida McFadden. And Amelia Hart's The Sirens. Audible offers over 1 million audiobooks, podcasts, and originals, all in one easy app. We love Audible. I use it all the time. Like to listen to Stephen King's short stories because he reads them sometimes, or he at least chimes in every now and then. And I feel like he's just like on the horn with me telling
Mhm.
stories. I love Audible. I can't picture a life without it.
Start listening and discover what's beyond the edge of your seat. New members can try Audible now for free for 30 days and dive into a world of new thrills. Visit audible.com/drink or text drink to 500-500. I got me a story for you, and I think you're going to like it. Do you have a guess what I'm going to cover, Christine? I think you do.
Well, now that you say that, I absolutely do not.
Well, that doesn't have to be the right guess.
Is
Yeah, you're
it
right. You're
the
right.
Congress Hotel?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes! Oh, sorry, that was so loud. I didn't look it up. And you know how hard it was for me to not look it up.
So,
I think I knew instinctively.
for those who gathered in Tucson for our one of our last shows, Christine and I and Eva, of course, stayed at the Hotel Congress in Tucson. And as
That was
soon
my
as
bad.
we're going to talk about it in a second. I promise I'll give you the floor to describe what that experience was. But um, when we got there, I looked around and I was like, this place is obviously fucking haunted. I feel like I've covered this before because the word Congress is like in my
Yes,
goddamn head.
me too.
And I was like, well, but I looked through my notes. I looked everywhere.
Huh.
I was like, hasn't That's Why We Drink covered the Hotel Congress at Tucson? Apparently fucking no. But what I did note down for you is that episode 55, way back when, I did cover the Congress Plaza Hotel in Chicago.
Maybe that's what felt. Okay, maybe that's what it was.
That's what I said. And then I went, that can't be right. Something else is going on.
I agree.
Bitch, I wrote about it in our book.
Fucking duh. I was like, I know about this place and I wouldn't know about it. There's no reason. I've never been to Tucson. Oh my
I
God, that explains it.
I settled for the Congress Plaza Hotel argument until I was doing the notes, and I was like,
I
I've
knew
read this before.
I was with you too because I was like, no, Hotel Congress is what's in my head.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's that. Of course, and we had to fucking of course, yes, okay.
And the best part is I couldn't find the research that I did for the book, so I
Love when
had
that
to
happens.
redo the research this weekend.
You're not just gonna read me the chapter like story time.
I thought about it, but it's actually I did a pretty good job condensing all the notes into those like 2 or 3 pages. So I was gonna read it, but then it will just kind of
We'll
be
save it for
double.
the kids show.
Yeah. Okay. And I would like to say this is a first for me. It took only 432 times, but I did these notes while in the location.
That's
Yeah. Isn't that
so
fun?
cool. We've never done that.
Which talk about scaring yourself straight because I was sitting there and reading about the
you're
ghosts
straight
that are on
now?
the other side. Well, hang on now. Researching ghosts that are maybe in the room with you is a fucking crazy feeling.
Dear God.
Every time I heard a sound, I was like, what the fuck was that?
I'm literally amazed you didn't just show up at our door and go, here's something horrible. Good night.
Well, that's why when we walked past that one room, I went, that's the really bad one. Like, I was like, and
Oh, I
thank
didn't
God
even
you didn't ask
notice.
how I knew that, because I was
I
like,
didn't even notice, clearly.
but anyway, here is the Hotel Congress. It's in Tucson. It is not the Congress Plaza Hotel in Chicago, but it is on page 143 of our second book, Another Haunted Road Atlas, Next Stop. And you can listen to it on Audible, by the way.
That's
Fun
right.
fact. Just
Welcome
shout
back.
out the people who do have a
And then you
partnership with
can
us.
hear us literally reading the chapter out loud.
You can hear me say it there and here, and it will
And you
basically
can
be
hear
the
my
same thing.
interjections, which might be also exactly the same. I don't know yet. We'll find out.
That would be fun. Let's see.
I always
Let's
see that when I do chapters from that I've written. I always test to see, and your reactions are usually like completely different, but like also just as unhinged. So it'll be
Thank you.
a good experiment.
I still think about what was her name? Who did I go on a date with?
I know you were like, I
The hell
wrote
was her
that.
name?
I keep always
Am
saying
I
Megan.
okay? No, it wasn't. Am I okay? What the hell was her name?
She's
Everyone
your
else knows it.
lover,
No,
Melissa,
we didn't even hold Michelle.
Michelle.
I was gonna say we didn't even hold hands. We went on 2 dates, and that was it. Um, Hi Michelle. Okay.
We have to say it every few episodes just to make sure.
I still think you reading that to me as, oh, this is something you said and your brain created, and I didn't even remember it.
And
That
you were
was
like,
hysterical.
"God damn, my brain is funny," and I was like, "I know." Oh, that's on social media. Megan cut that for us, which made me happy because now we can go watch it.
Well, here we go. This
Good
is
times.
Hotel Congress. Would you like to describe Hotel Congress to the people?
Yeah, I must. So we have a this guy Scott who helps us book our, or he like sends us options for hotels and stuff. Um and so usually Eva's been picking them, but late like this past trip I saw Hotel Congress, and for some reason, and he Scott is into ghosts, and so every time like we go to Milwaukee, he's like, "Oh, tell me you're staying at the Pfister," and like he just loves it. So he often includes a haunted hotel in the list. I He didn't mention it, and so I was like, "Why does this sound so familiar?" But I looked it up, and I was like, "It's really cool and historic." So I clicked it, and then we walked in, and I whispered to Eva like, I feel like MS covered this on the podcast, and Eva goes, "Yeah, something about it." It's just like,
Well,
and
it's
then we
just
get up.
so obviously haunted. It
It's so
looks.
obvious, and then we get up to the front, they're like, "Here's the layout of the rooms," and then some of the rooms have literal ghosts icons on them because 'cause they're haunted. And we didn't get placed in the haunted room, but Eva did get placed in something worse, which was called the club room, and it was
No, that
like,
was me.
oh, yeah, I know, but we moved Eva, yeah. But so
Oh,
when we
sorry.
got there, they put Eva in the room, and they were like, "Well, I mean, it's pretty loud," and we were like, "How loud?" And they're like, "Well, till 2 a.m., there will be a DJ, like, basically shaking the whole building." And so for 20 bucks more, we moved her, but then we met up with M, and M was like, "Yeah, I'm on the club side." And we went to bed that night, and I'm on the quiet side, and I swear to God, like, the windows are rattling, and it's like LMFAO playing downstairs, and I'm like, "This is but the rooms themselves are wild. They're, like, very Old West. Mine was cowboy themed, and it had, like, the sink was, the bathrooms are so tiny that the sink's in the bedroom. It's like it looks kinda sparse like an Old West hotel. It was cool, but it was definitely, like, Christine maybe should have done her research before picking this, the night before we traveled and all that, but, it was fun, though. It was cool. I didn't have any ghost experiences, though. Eva did in the shower.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We can mention that later when I talk about
Yeah.
the ghosts.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
My experience was I got there earlier. Actually, Eva and Christine drove from Vegas to Tucson, and I went, I am gonna take a plane, thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
And
not a bad idea.
I got there in the morning, and uh I didn't know I could switch rooms, but they did. They warn you immediately. They're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, just so you know, you're above the club, and would you like some complimentary earplugs?" And I
I
went,
mean, that's how you know, like, if they're saying it that boldly, like, you know it's gonna be bad because they probably wouldn't address it if it were just, like, a mild sound.
I was like, "I'm probably gonna be okay," and they went, "No, you probably want
No,
the
I
earplugs." And I
think you
went,
want the
"What
AirPods.
is going on here? Like, what do you mean I'm gonna need them? Why are you putting me in a room there then?" And
Yeah.
now to know that there were other rooms available, why on earth did you
I
put me
love that you
here?
could have gotten Eva's replacement room, and nope.
I took one for the team. I but it really was. I At some point I dropped food off at Eva's room later
Yeah,
that night when the club was jumping, and I got to hear the difference, and it
yeah.
was still loud where you guys were, but it was, I mean, the subwoofer or whatever might as well have been in my fucking face.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what was crazy, is, like, the walls were shaking, and and it was also, like, music from 2011, and I was like, "This is
yeah.
such a weird throwback," like, I'm just hearing, like, Iconopop, like, "I got this feeling on a summer day." I'm like, "Oh my god." And for, like, an old haunted Western hotel, and then you're just, like, hearing, like, give me your man up," and it's, like, techno beat. I mean, really, it was an experience.
Well, for
I slept
me,
great, for to be fair, I slept really well for some reason, so
I slept
mm.
weirdly well too. But when I checked in, they even like they don't have hotel keys. Like it's so old and they've maintained everything from the 30s and 40s. They literally give you like basically like a skeleton
Gold
key,
keys, yeah.
like a big ass like embossed brass key and they're like, "Hey, so this is actually the original to the building. So if you leave, you have to bring
Yeah.
it back to us and check it back in, and then when you come back to the hotel later, you can get it again for your room. You can't leave with this key."
Oh,
I was
whoops,
like,
I left with it every time. They did
"Oh."
not give me that warning. They did not give me that warning.
Another thing that this hotel has, by the way, the telephones in each of the room literally connects to an old 1930s operator switchboard. Like,
That was the coolest thing. The phone rang and I saw go click, click, click. Hello, front
yeah,
desk. And I'm
they
like,
do
what's happening?
they do a demonstration for you when you check in. Like, oh, see, it really does go to this switchboard.
Well, the creepy part was then the phone rang and she was like, hello, front desk, hello. And she's like, there's no one on the other end and hung up. And I was like, why are you doing this to me? I'm so scared.
It's such a weird old hotel.
Yes, it was so weird. I'm so glad you figured out that it was in the book. I was feeling like a lunatic trying to figure out how I knew about this hotel.
Well, fun fact: it is on the National Historic Register. And do you know how it got the name Hotel Congress?
I don't.
This makes me mad. Apparently,
Oh,
it was named in a contest in 1918, which, like, I'm fine with the contest, but, like,
yeah.
why would you submit Hotel Congress? Like, what, you couldn't pick anything else, like, that would be more fun?
Well, so who
Her name was Dorrit Dinkle.
oh, she submitted that name
Yeah, she submitted Hotel Congress for this
and that
contest.
won?
I'm like, what were the other ones? Hotel
Lame.
Boring? Like, what
Yeah,
the hell?
I mean, even that's more interesting, right? At least that has a story behind it.
Anyway, Dorrit Dinkle, which I think is just the funniest name in the whole world. I mean, she obviously, she was,
Why didn't she name it the Dinkle Hotel? Now
are you kidding
that
me?
I would have voted for.
So she won it in a contest through the newspaper. This was in 1918 when it was being built, and
I
she
love that
won.
contests were in the newspaper. It's just really it just, like, gets me
Bring it
going.
back. Bring
Really
it back.
jazzes me up, you know what I mean?
Like there's no. I just feel like in a newspaper contest today, someone would submit like their kid's suggestion. It'd be like Hotel Dinosaur. Like, why
It would be,
wouldn't you
like,
pick
so much
that?
more creative or, like, Hotel Covfefe or something, like, kinda, like, trend funny and, yeah, I agree.
uh, Dorrit, and I'm hoping it's Doris, and it just got misspelled in the source. But Miss Dinkle won $15 worth of bonds, which at the time was $320. Just so you know.
Okay, alright, I mean, it's not terrible, I guess. I
In
guess.
19 in 1919, a year later, it was officially constructed, and per usual, it's a tale as old as time. It was created because a train depot had just been built running through the area. And per usual, a train depot was built here because the area had recently grown in their cattle industry. And per
Yes.
usual, this train depot would be used by many businessmen coming through the area for that cattle industry, and a fancy hotel would be needed for those fancy businessmen when they got to their stop.
It's a
And per
tale as
usual,
old as time.
the hotel was the fanciest hub of the time, and it became a community space in town. Everyone came here, and per usual, that included gangsters and gamblers and nefarious acts over time.
The
So
hooligans.
I feel like at this point, after so many episodes covering haunted hotels, I should just tell you at the beginning just the phrase the usual. And then, like, we don't have to
Yeah.
do this,
Yeah.
you know?
Lady in White, check. Yeah, go on.
So, in that same way, as every other hotel story, there was a lot of violence in the area because so many. It was meant for fancy business people, and eventually everyone's coming in, including the dregs of society, of course,
No, no, no.
which leads to many people dying here. So, the same year that Hotel Congress was built, so was their little tavern bar area called the Tap House. Although at the time, it was meant to be a tavern bar, but it was prohibition, so it became just a restaurant.
Boring.
And then as soon as prohibition was over, it became a bar like that day. I think it was the first bar to
I
open in town.
love remember that story where they said they were like they had all I think it was in Milwaukee, they had all the beer like, ready to go, and then the
Yeah,
second it was repealed, they, like,
they were, like,
rushed
waiting
into
for that
town
green
with the
flag.
beer, like the
Yeah,
Grinch with his giant sled, you know, just like,
100%.
"Here you go."
They were 100% just waiting for the light to turn green, f and
Oh,
so then
beautiful stuff.
day 1, people were pouring in to drink,
Oh my god.
and so that does make it in town or maybe in all of Arizona, the longest continuously ran bar.
Really?
I think so,
Cool.
yeah. It's also and also
At
that means
least
since
at
n
least above board, like,
above board.
speakeasies aside.
And if you're counting just, like, the restaurant, which was probably I'm sure there was a speakeasy under that restaurant, that means it's been continuously running almost every day since 1918. So,
That's really wild.
over 100 years. The Another fun fact is that I only saw this on one source, I don't know how true it is, but allegedly this, area or the tap house was also a secret queer bar back in the day when people had to be
Oh, that's cool.
undercover.
That's good to know, like, cool. Fun
Since
fact.
1919, when the hotel and the tap room opened, ever since then, it has also opened a diner known as the Cup, or what was it called? We were
Oh,
just
yeah.
there.
We were just there, the Cup Cafe, yeah.
Yeah, the one that I could not fucking fit in, by the
It was
way.
hilarious. They were like, get out, get your suitcase out of the server," whatever.
Every single spot I stood in was the wrong spot, and the an employee would be like, "I'm sorry, you're in my way," and then I'd have to move, and then another employee would go, "I'm sorry, I'm trying to get past you," and then I'd go another. Oh my god! Eventually, I was like, "Christine, eat your fucking potatoes. I'll meet you outside."
I was
Um,
trying. I had to scooch him into a scooch all the wet eggs into a Tupperware. Okay, it's a long story, guys. Anyway,
oh my god. Um. So anyway, there is that little diner area. Apparently, the floor is made of pennies. I didn't see that when I went in
I
there.
did not pick up on that. There's a
And
lot to
then
look at though in that hotel.
there is. So that's supposed to be like a 1940s kind of diner. Then they also have a jazz club. They have as you know, a nightclub called Club Congress.
Yeah,
It
the
is
nightclub.
the it's like a music venue hall. Fun fact, I think it was like ZZ Top's guitarist said it was like his favorite bar he's ever been to, or
Cool.
club he's
Yeah,
ever.
I wish we had like had time to go to the bar. I mean, I guess I experienced it from bedtime, but
Yeah,
sounded like it was popping.
they didn't need us there. It was
They
loud
didn't need it.
enough.
They certainly didn't need us there now.
It was truly the loudest hotel I've ever experienced, and there's just no way around it.
Unbelievable.
I'm not even trying to sound like a curmudgeon, like, I can tolerate a lot of loud noise. This
Yeah.
was, like, actually, like, play music on your speakers, and that was the loudness it was in your fucking room. It was
And I'll be honest,
crazy.
like I thought it was gonna be like a problem, and then I fucking fell asleep so fast and slept through. Apparently, M was at the door knocking because they were trying to get Eva's room and knocked on mine by accident. Didn't even fucking wake up. I mean, to be fair, the subwoofers were so fucking loud. I
Yeah,
don't know.
could you have heard me
I couldn't have
knocking?
heard you knocking, but it's just like something about it, man. I was out cold.
Well, the nightclub maybe this is just another superlative, or maybe this is the one I was thinking. Club Congress, the music venue, night hall,
Yeah.
nightclub area, it is one of the longest running venues on the East Coast.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Wait, it's not on the East Coast, is it?
Oh my god, West Coast. Sorry, west of the Mississippi. What is wrong with me? Can you imagine? That would be
I was
crazy.
like, I feel like
West Coast.
maybe I misunderstood.
No, 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 West Coast. Thank you for clocking that before other people did.
Yeah. It's the least I can do.
So, because it is one of the longest running venues on the West Coast, the governor heard about this and decided that they were going to come up with a celebration for this, and they created a Club Congress weekend, where I feel like we were probably there for that fucking
That
weekend
must have
because
been.
but that's when they just go fucking balls to the wall, I guess, at Club Congress. And then there's a whole other event that's
The
3
Club
days,
Congress is
3
probably
nights.
like, yeah, right. You guys didn't even get the half of it. Like, try to come here on Club Congress night, and it's gonna be. I can't
Crazy.
imagine. I can't imagine.
There's also a 3-day, 3-night live music festival that they host there too, called HOCO Fest. HOCO for
God,
Hotel Congress.
oh
And
cute.
I can't imagine 3 days and 3 nights. Like the hotel has to be empty. Like the only reason people would stay there is because they're so drunk from partying downstairs.
Right, which makes sense. I guess you would stay. You would want to stay there if you were there for the.
It is smart. It's like it's certainly responsible drinking of like I'm gonna get wasted and then I'm just gonna like rent a bed upstairs. But nobody's there for like any other vacation
Oh my lord.
that weekend.
It couldn't be.
Um,
Or if they are, then
so
they're leaving really soon. They're gonna get out of there.
100%. 100%. They came with a Christine who's like, I don't know why I picked this one. I'm so sorry.
Oops, I just thought it sounded cool.
So the hotel, like we said earlier, has maintained its original decoration since at least the 1930s, and Christine nailed it. That the hotel is themed. I don't know if it's like I don't know if theme's the right word, but they stick true to. I kept describing it as like feeling like I was staying in a living history museum exhibit
Yeah, yeah.
because the bathroom and the showers are certainly like the technology is up to date where like you're gonna like flush the toilet and it'll be fine, but it looks like of a completely bygone era. The sinks inside, it look like the rooms look like what I imagine someone from Newsies when they're like, I'm renting a room downtown. And
Yes,
like,
yes, yes, with the sink in the room, and then you like a shared bathroom, presumably, you know? I
yeah,
mean, we didn't
yeah.
have shared bathrooms, but you could tell that it might have been that way in the past. And yeah, it was like, oh, the shower, I don't fit in it. I had to turn sideways and put my head in it. Like, it
Yes.
kind of just like they had to retroactively make it work as a modern
Like
day hotel.
literally the beds were made of iron. It was like all squeaky and old sounding. They didn't have TVs in there, but they literally had vintage radios for you to listen to. They like it just felt like you were sitting in a room in the 1940s. It was a
Yeah.
very cool feeling. I actually was so lucky that I came in early because I just felt like a kid again because back in the 90s I used to just lie in my bed and listen to the radio. There was nothing else to do back then. But
Yeah.
I as soon as I went in there, I just turned the radio on and just lied on that iron bed and washed my hands in that tiny little sink, and I went, "Okay, well, here I am." Um, but anyway, just to give you the vibe of the room, everything is very old school, including how you get to your room. Because I asked if there was an elevator for my heavy ass bag, and their exact words were, "It burned down in a fire back in 1934."
We just haven't gotten around to it yet in the past 90 years.
Like, literally, everyone had to I'm not trying to sound like a diva here, but everyone had to manually carry and we came with, like, tour
Oh,
stuff, like, we
yeah,
came
that
with, like
was again, I feel that maybe that was my bad.
but, like, the way that they responded, they coulda just said, "Oh, sorry, we don't have an elevator," or,
It
"Oh, sorry,
burned
we're not accessibility friendly." They coulda said anything else, but he said it as if he was setting up a story, and he was like, "It burned down in 1934," and I was like, "Well, then what do I
next.
do?" And
Yeah,
he was like, "You pick it up and you carry it."
yeah, yeah, it was pretty wild.
So the fire. Let's talk about it. The fire from 1934, the one that burnt this goddamn elevator down,
Yeah.
one source says it was a lit cigarette on a tablecloth that caused it. I don't
Oh,
totally know, but then I heard that it was a fire that started in the basement, which is where they store things like tablecloths. So maybe someone was on a break and
true, and just set it down.
everyone's lighting cigarettes in the 30s. So
Yeah.
um it's apparently started in the basement, went all the way up, and the third floor was the one that was like fully fucking damaged. And may she rest in peace, the elevator.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah, really. We missed her that trip. We
I
missed her.
thought of her fondly, yeah.
Uh-huh.
The third floor was never rebuilt. It was just completely incinerated, and they just decided to build from the second floor down and redo everything.
Okay.
So by doing this, though, they ended up losing half their rooms because there was 40 rooms on each floor. So
Oh,
uh,
shit.
they ended up going from 80 rooms to 40 rooms by only keeping the first and second floor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they were like, well, if we lose half of our rooms, we're losing half of our rates. And so, how are we going to make the money back? So, to keep the hotel afloat, that's why they opened up all these other fucking ventures like the jazz club and the music hall and the diner. It was all just so they can make money in different ways.
To diversify.
Yeah. Yeah. To diversify their portfolio, if you will. Um, and I mean, it worked. It's literally still working today. But it was, if you're wondering why this place wears so many hats, it's because they were trying to just break even by losing
I
40 of their
mean,
rooms.
I get it.
Everyone survived this fire, for people wondering, because all of them had big ass windows they could climb out of, and they climbed right down the fire ladders. Um, but here's where it gets interesting: is this fire also led to one of the most notable pieces of history at this hotel, because that night of the fire in 1934, there were some important guests here, including bank robber John Dillinger and his gang laying low from a robbery. Um,
See, that's what you said, like, I just booked a room, I booked a room, tied up my horse, like, that is the exact vibe of this place.
I would like to know what rooms they were in. Like, was I in a room that John Dillinger has been
Now
in?
that would be cool. I wonder if those are the haunted ones, though, maybe not, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
No, they're not? Oh, then
They're certainly not
maybe?
mentioned. Maybe they were
I
on.
mean,
Maybe they were in rooms on the third floor and they're just burnt away.
that's true,
Um,
actually, yeah, good point. No, they could have been above us.
yeah. One could have been in the elevator. Someone had to be in there at
Oh,
some point.
no, that stinks.
So, okay, they were trying to be discreet here because apparently the robbery was on the East Coast. That's how I had East Coast in my notes. And they were like, let's go to this tiny little podunk town in fucking Tucson, Arizona. I love that they went to like the most hoppin' happening place
Yeah,
to
let's go
lay
for in
low,
time
but
for the
okay.
big music festival.
Yeah, right. Hoko Fest is this weekend. But so they
Hoko.
they decided they were gonna lay low, go to this hotel, hide out while the dust settled on this bank robbery they did, and then of course on that night a fire fucking happens. They Nobody knew who they were because they came in under different names, but firefighters remember a group of men being really hesitant to leave and really reluctant about getting out of the building. So the
Hmm.
firefighters were like, "It's on fucking fire! Get out of here!"
Yeah, 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 you shady motherfuckers.
So, in evacuating, they had to abandon their belongings, which was probably all the goods that they had just robbed a bank
Mhm.
of. So they were acting really suspicious and paranoid about their belongings in the room. And while waiting outside, one source said in their underwear, which I love. Um,
Oh my god, I love that. That's the kind of detail we need, people,
Thank
journalists.
you. Although I doubt it, because if they were that hesitant and reluctant, how long did they have to react? Is my question. Like, was this fire not moving that fast?
Good question. Like, were they like, did they have time to like grab a few things
Like,
and they
couldn't you
chose
grab?
their gun instead of their pants? I don't know.
See, I don't
Could
know.
be.
At any rate, at some point they were outside and they were acting really fishy and they kept bugging the firefighters to like go get their stuff or like, hey, can you go check
Yeah,
on my
you're being so
belongings?
suspicious, you guys. Like, cool it.
They knew how to lay low with their mouths shut, but when
Yeah, right.
open, they were pretty bad at their job.
Seems like it.
So they go up to some of the firefighters and say like, I really want you to take care of this suitcase in there. And I'm sure they said it like mobsters. They're like, I want you to do me a favor, blah blah blah.
Just
They
take care of something.
they decide that they're going to basically slip them a 5 and be like, "Do me this solid, go get my bags." They really slit them a 12, which
A 12.
in today's money is about 280, $300.
Okay, all right. It's a decent chunk of change, I guess, depending on what you're asking.
But it is silly to be like, 12? You couldn't just give me a fucking tenner or like
12 is a
bigger?
wild choice. I feel like it was 10 and then the guy was like, not enough. And they were like,
I feel like it's like
anybody?
us using a valet where like all three of us are just
We're
trying to
just
find any spare
scrounging. Yeah,
dollar.
exactly. It felt like scrounging for the extra couple bucks. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was like, "I have another dollar. I have two. I'll contribute that." So anyway, they hand the firefighters $12. The firefighters go get their bags. I don't know if they looked in the bags or if one was accidentally open. I don't know, but at some point the firefighters looked inside the bag on their way down, and this is what they found in there: several guns, several grenades, several bulletproof vests, several bottles of alcohol, which I don't know if this was during Prohibition or not, but interesting to note. We don't know, around $40,000 in
And then
cash
they
and
gave him a
gold.
12. Yeah, I'd be
I
pissed
know.
too.
I'd be like, I'm taking this brick of gold actually, thank you.
Seriously, this is my new cut. Thanks.
One source said there were also notes on the robbery itself, and another source said a
They didn't grab that on their way out.
like
Oh
it's just
my
like
god.
all of them having like a yearbook photo in front of the bank they robbed. It's like
Yep, yep. It feels wrong. Oh no.
so one source said there was notes on the actual robbery. Another source said that in this bag was a fucking skeleton's hand and a glass eyeball.
They were like, "That's actually something different. That has nothing to do with the
That's
robbery."
actually a totally different
Yeah,
story.
that's sorry. That's something from home. Don't worry about it. It's personal.
So the firefighters were obviously like, "What the fuck?" And one of them would have been in And That's Why We Drink Early because he read True Detective magazine and loved
Yes!
true crime, and he
Yes!
fucking squinted at them after enough suspicious things happened, and he was like, "I fucking recognize these people." And he realized they were John Dillinger's gang, so he
Oh my god, that moment when you're like,
can you
"Uh-oh."
imagine being a fan of true crime and then you solve a crime? You're like, "Oh my
You're
god."
just, like, standing there and you're like, "Wait a minute, it's happening, it's happening!"
So he told the caps, who am I? The
That's he told the
cops,
caps.
he told the coppers,
The wicked caps.
so told the cops ended up capturing them elsewhere. John Dillinger escapes again, and then of course he dies in Chicago. Um, but the Hotel Congress now remembers this event of like John Dillinger escaping their hotel by celebrating not just Hoco Fest, my friend, not just Club Congress weekend, but they also have Dillinger Days Festival,
Ugh!
where they do reenactments of the escape and probably without fire. And
Reenactments.
they have a vintage car show too. So it's a whole
Damn,
1940s day.
that's really cool.
I'll tell you one thing about this hotel that they don't play with, and that's an event. It seems like
Yeah,
they've got
which
an
I
event
love.
on every day of the calendar.
They're like, "This is a holiday," and I really approve of that. As someone who's always looking for more holidays, it's very exciting.
They also host I mean, when I say they host several events, while we were there, I saw a list of like 20 events happening, and we were
Yeah,
going to
it
be there
was
for
pretty
2 days.
wild.
They
Yeah.
don't fuck around. And I guess
No,
if you've got 5 different parts of the building doing different businesses, you can always have an event at least one of them.
that's true.
Um, but during Halloween, especially because they lean into the ghosts, I mean, they literally were telling Eva and Christine about the ghosts when they checked in.
Yeah,
Um,
they were like, "We have them labeled." We were like, okay."
during
None of them were
Halloween,
available though, which sucked.
they host Nightmare on Congress Street, which is apparently the town's biggest Halloween block party. And they also host during October, this is a quote, authentic live recreations of Victorian era theatrical seances in the third floor room to survive the fire.
What is it, up in the sky?
Yeah, I guess, is it just like the chimney? I don't know.
Wha
The irony
Is
of
it
it
on
being
the
a chimney.
roof? It's just on the roof.
But apparently they do old school 1800s seances
That's
upstairs.
crazy. How
So,
cool.
and like I said, they're very open about the hotel being haunted. They literally told Eva, "Oh, if you want to see a ghost here, just ask," which is
They
crazy.
literally said that. They go, "Oh, well," I said, "Oh, bummer, there's no, haunted rooms available," and the woman goes, "Oh, well, all you have to do is say, 'I'm ready to see you.'" And I was like, "Okay,
I'll
never
never
mind."
say those words. I'll
I was
never
gonna
say
say,
them.
"Never mind, never mind." I
That's
did say
just
those words on the stairs and I saw nothing, so
well, maybe they
it
don't
didn't
like
work
you.
for me. Maybe not.
Well, so when you think about the time that this building has been here since 1918, there have been many deaths here, including gangster violence. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but there are allegedly like the old um, tunnels under this property of
Oh,
of the city, so a lot of dark dealings happen there. There were talks of maybe people being kidnapped down there or being used for sex work, unfortunately, and being
oh
trafficked.
god.
So there's just a lot of negative, heavy energy. Plus that one fire in 1934, but there were other multiple fires. There were many suicides here. Um, just it's a and it was just a high traffic energy space when it was like the hub of the town too. So a lot of reasons for it to be haunted. There are 4 main haunted rooms in the hotel, although I have a 5th bonus room for you.
Ooh, is it the one on the roof?
No, I would now like to look at a map because what the fuck was that
Seriously,
third
where
room up
is
there?
that room?
It's like I thought it all burned away. Where are we? Is
I
it
don't
just the
know.
elevator shaft that goes to
Yeah, right?
nothing?
You just climb the fire escape? I don't know.
Okay. So there are 4 main haunted rooms in this hotel, although there is a 5th bonus room, which I'll get to in a second. Um,
Ooh.
but the first haunted room there that probably had a little ghosty icon on the map you saw at the hotel
Mhm.
is room 212. Apparently, in this room, guests will lock their doors and it will unlock itself and open anyway. So even if you lock the door, you'll look over and then the door has opened itself.
Really one of the
Or
worst in a hotel.
truly, or they will leave it open because there have been people who are fed up and they're like, fine, we'll keep it open. And then the door will slam shut by itself.
Oh, great. So it's like just whatever you don't want.
Yeah, yeah. Similarly, in 219, which this is the bonus room, but we're going to come back to it. You'll see why it's a bonus later. 219, there's not a lot to be said, but it gets mentioned as like a blip on one of the sources. And it says that there's a ghost here who, just like how in 212 they will lock and unlock the doors, in 219 they will only lock the bathroom door, and they'll lock it from the inside so you can't get in to the bathroom.
Oh, that would stink.
Staff will apparently have to take the door off its hinges to get back in there because, as we said, it's like skeleton keys and shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's you can't.
Oh, so you have to
can't
unscrew the whole. Oh
you
my
have to take the whole
God.
door off to be able to unlock it
What?
from the
Oh,
inside and
that
put the
would
door
be
back on.
miserable.
So if you have IBS, don't stay in 219.
Well, good thing I figured this out after we left.
You did sleep 2 rooms away.
I did. That's true.
Actually, if we're doing the hotel thing where it's odd numbers, you shared a wall with 219. 217.
Eva was 217. I was 216.
Oh, so Eva shared a wall with 219.
I think it went one by one because there weren't any across the hall.
Oh, fuck.
I know.
All right, whatever. You were a
Three
few doors
doors.
away.
3 doors.
Okay, so that's 219, the bathroom one. We'll
Right.
we'll get back to that though. But so the main ones are 212, where the doors are all opening and unlocking themselves. In 214, another one you were next to.
That one I was very close to. Yes.
People will say that there's a man in a pinstriped suit and top hat that appears in this room.
No.
What's it like to know you
know
were
what was there,
about
actually?
10 feet away from that?
Well, you know what was in there? These 2 dogs that barked constantly. Those dogs were in that room.
Maybe
I
they saw
loved them.
him.
I have no problem with them, but they were barking up a storm, and I was like, "Uh-oh, what do they see?"
Maybe they saw him. I don't know.
Could be.
They say that this guy was either a gangster or that he was killed by gangsters during like a bad poker play.
Bummer.
But apparently he's in a seersucker pinstripe suit, sometimes a top hat. He is also known to, quote, walk through the lobby and stick his head into the office door to, like, I guess, look at people.
Oh, to peek in? Yeah, I don't like it.
Maybe related to the fact that he is said to be a victim of gangster violence, but people in 214 also see a bloody handprint in there. I wonder if the handprint moves around like Blue's Clues, or is it just
I
one?
mean, could be. Like, then it would be more like, what is it trying to tell me? You know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would imagine it's on one spot, but maybe not.
You know what? Let's do the opposite of having a kids scary story hour, and let's do a really scary story hour, and we could do Blue's Clues, but instead of the blue paws, it's all bloody hands. And
So
it's
now
like,
instead of a children's show,
now we're solving a crime.
it's now a children's show for adults. Like,
Yes.
we're now making it, we're looping too far and going into
You get it.
children's content that's too extreme for children.
It's like a murder mystery, but it's like, where does the bloody paw print hand take
I mean,
us?
it does feel right for millennials, at least, you know, like the format might really work.
Well, here's my favorite thing about Pinstripe Suit Man. You're gonna love this.
I don't
He-
already love it. I already don't.
No, you are gonna like this. He hates the vacuum cleaner,
Oh, me too.
and so he will literally constantly unplug it whenever they have to vacuum his room.
Wait, dogs hate vacuums too. Maybe they were all hanging out in there,
Maybe they were just all
all
covering their
barking
ears.
at the vacuum.
Apparently, the only way they can vacuum in that room is if they play 1920s music to appease him. But how can you
Oh
hear it over the
my-
vacuum?
God, good point.
The next big room is, there's 2 rooms left. That was, so 212, 214. Those are the 2 big ones. And then the next 2 big ones are 220
hmm
and 242. You don't have to know this, but in case other people
I
care.
feel like it's gonna be a pop quiz.
220. I think 220 is my favorite. 220 is, there was a World War II veteran who moved in the 60s, and he lived
Oh.
here for the rest of his life for like 30
He
years.
rented a room.
I
like we talked
I
about.
rented a room down in the city.
Down south.
His
on
name
South
was
Street.
his name was Vince, and he ended up, I think, dying of a heart attack later. Although one source literally said he died from a bobcat in the alley under a full moon.
That was
Was that
that
Vince?
was that was him who said that. There's no way in the goddamn world that wasn't something he said. when I go tell my friends and family this is how I went out, you know?
Christine, if I die in a boring way, can you please tell people it was a bobcat in the
Like,
alley under a full moon?
literally, obviously, there's nothing I'd rather be responsible for than telling some sort of legend and lore about how you go out. A
Thank you.
bobcat under the moonlight, I'm in.
Uh, Here's why I like Vince so much. Every single day, he would, because he lived there for 30 years, he would go down to the cafe, the
And
one
see his
that
pet bobcat.
see his bobcat, give him a pet, and he would go get a cup of coffee, a bagel, and a butter knife, and he'd bring it to his room. Every day, he would return the plate that the bagel was sitting on and the coffee cup, but he would never return the butter knife.
Oh, I remember this. Didn't you talk about this in your book?
This was
In
the
your
part
book.
in mine, yes. This was the part where I was like, "I've fucking covered this. Why doesn't it say?"
Yes, I remember this.
And then I was getting, not actually, but for the theatrics, I was getting mad at Megan because I was like, Why isn't it listed in our episode list on our website? Like, where, what that, what
Someone
I
find it. It's a
obviously I
Mandela
covered it.
effect.
Obviously, I covered this. Like, I remember butter knives being a thing, and it was because of this stupid book. So
Well, I also remember it, and I
thank
also would have
you.
lost my mind, so
So he would never return his butter knives, and part of me is like, "Ugh, why is a
it's a
human
little
being
weird.
keeping all these knives? All these knives?" But
Yes, it is.
apparently, he would keep them around as like multi tools for like to screw things in or like to pry things off, like fix
To open the
things.
bathroom door when it gets locked.
Probably, I imagine if he was there for 30 years, he probably also saw the
He knows the
ghosts.
tricks of the trade, how to deal with them, yeah.
The lasagna layers of ghosts always gets me when like someone knew it was haunted and then becomes a ghost themselves. It always trips
Agreed.
me up.
Agreed.
But so anyway, he always kept the butter knives. Ever since he died, housekeepers regularly find butter knives in odd places around the hotel.
Oh, that's so cool.
Which, like, part of me is like, did he stockpile like 800 of them and now they're all finally being found? Or
Oh, good point.
is he stealing new ones and then showing them off?
Right, like, are they reappearing? Or, like, right, yeah. Ooh, I wonder. That's kinda cool, though, if you, like, didn't know and then you kept finding knives and then your coworker was like, "Oh, you don't know about the
Yeah,
knives."
that's
Ah!
Vince. Vince the
It's
knife guy.
Vince. Yeah.
He also likes to move people's things and prank them. He likes to sit at the bar still. People will still see him sitting at the bar. And he will also, kind of like vacuum guy, he will mess with the jukebox based on if he likes the song or not.
Oh, okay, well, that makes me nervous. I feel like that's a lot of pressure, you
He'll
know,
just like
you
crank the volume up and
right,
down.
and you're just losing your money, like, okay.
That's true. A
That's
jukebox
a
song
little
these days is
unfair.
like
What the fuck does
$25,000.
he think of Iconopop over and over and over
Yeah,
again? I mean, he
Vince,
can't
couldn't
be
you turn that
happy.
down? Jesus
Seriously, you
Christ.
couldn't be happy. I'm sure he's not happy with that.
Well, the last room, probably definitely the most haunted room, is 242, the one that I pointed out to you, and I said this is the really haunted one.
Hmm.
I took a picture of it so we can put that up. Anyone could Google it, but if you'd like my picture of it, we will put that up.
Mhm.
Um, Room 242. It is the most haunted room. There was a woman. They always frame it as she was struggling in her marriage. Girl was also struggling with like severe mental health problems.
Oh, yeah, well, so right.
But she's a married woman first, of course.
Of course.
Um, Maybe her marriage was part of it, but she was having
Well,
like
I mean, I imagine it makes the rest of your life very difficult if you already have severe mental health
yeah, I don't know what came
issues.
first, but she was struggling. That's all it
Yeah,
needs to that's all we need to
right.
know. Um, she ended up deciding that life was not worth living,
Oof.
and she apparently started acting weird in the hotel and
Oh,
so
jeez.
concerned that the staff were like, we need to call the police.
Mm.
The police show up. There seems to be a kerfuffle where they find her locked in the bathroom with a
Mm.
gun, and she ends up dying by suicide.
No.
I don't know how true it is now, but apparently the bullet hole is still there, and there are pictures on Google of people who have taken pictures of the bullet hole.
Oh,
Take
wow.
like, and it's still a very clear bullet
That's
hole.
upsetting.
Yeah. But if you're like weirdly into paranormal and you forget the empathy side of things, then I guess there's that fun fact for you. I don't
Mm.
know, but it would be too weird for me. Um anyway, so she died by suicide there. There were a lot of people who died by suicide, but I think because hers is like such a traumatic story, hers is now the most popular.
Yeah,
Yay.
it's so tragic. Yeah.
Yeah, tragic, not traumatic, sorry. Yeah, well, both.
Well, both, yeah.
So guests sometimes feel someone watching them when they sleep in there. People feel someone sitting on the bed. Some people say that they feel her or feel her touching them and hear her whispering to them in bed.
Ooh, no.
Guests will wake up from nightmares and see someone standing over them. They'll feel a weird heaviness in the room. Some will literally feel someone laying in bed with them.
Mm.
So you know that blanket's moving all the time in there. That's terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
I One thing that terrifies me about a hotel room is like is the blanket moving by itself, you know?
That because it feels so invasive, right? Like, I don't know, it feels like you're already kind of you're staying in someone else's space, it feels like
Mhm.
already, and then to have somebody, like, pulling off your blanket, yeah, forget it.
There are so many times in hotel rooms I'll go, "You can do whatever you want, don't touch me."
Please. Yeah, don't.
Um, Guests will also feel cold spots in here. They'll see a woman, apparently in white. She's always gotta be in fucking white.
Mhm, I knew it.
People will see a dark, cloudy shadow where she died in the bathroom. The SLS or stick figure camera has caught things in here when people have investigated. People will feel something grab them. They'll see mists in the hall. They'll see also in the hotel there's not just a woman in white. There's a woman in black on the stairs, which is where you were asking to see someone.
Oh, I
Um,
was, yeah, I did not see a woman in black, no.
a woman in black. They think she was like a supervisor because she apparently stares at the people in the lobby and they say, "Oh, she's still managing them." But part of me is like, maybe she was a Karen who's like just like being mean and critical of them
Maybe she's
for like
mean,
their
she's
job.
just nosy and doesn't wanna go down the stairs yet.
Yeah, she's like, "I just
I
got all the way
mean,
up here."
she's just looking down.
She apparently smells like roses, which is nice.
Oh my, okay.
People hear voices throughout this hotel. They hear knocking throughout the hotel. They'll see children in the halls when children aren't there. They'll see
Great.
flickering lights. Apparitions appear and disappear. Guests will see a phantom bellboy. They'll see a maid cleaning. They'll see there's another employee in the
I've always wanted
kitchen.
to see a phantom bellboy because that feels less upsetting to me than a lot of other, like, characters at a hotel. Because a bellboy, it's like, even if he's just, like, just doing his job from the past, you know?
Yeah, and it's like you don't even want to mess with me. You just want to mess with my luggage. And if I throw you a $5 bill, you're gonna be happy and you're not gonna hurt
Exactly, and you're
me.
gonna be like, "This is $8,000 because 'cause
Yeah,
you're from a
exactly.
different time." So it's gonna
Exactly.
be I'm just gonna look really
I just need
hospitable.
to flip you a nickel and go,
That's right.
here you go, sport."
Yeah, find it behind your ear.
Yeah.
No wonder we never
There's
see ghosts. They're probably like, "I literally don't have time for you.
they're like, "I
Please."
actually don't even want a nickel, thank
Like,
you."
"Actually, can you get away from my face? Thank you."
There's another employee people see in the kitchen who always disappears. Some people have said that they literally talk to a woman who works there and then they can't find her and they find out she's never been there.
Ew.
Some guests have found their room tidied for no reason, and some have literally looked out the window and seen old town Tucson with horse and buggies.
That's my dream, That's my dream. Forget the bellboy.
It
That's
always
what I
freaks me
want.
out when people are like, "I heard horses like
Oh,
clopping on the
but it's one of my
gravel."
favorites. It's like a time slip. Oh, I
Ugh.
love it. I love it. I love it.
Most, if not all, staff members have experiences here, and many guests have left early because it was so scary for them. The
Oh dear.
second floor in particular is the most haunted because that's where all the rooms are, so that has, like, the added layer of all that
Right.
history and energy. The best story I found online about Hotel Congress, though, was in the 90s. This guy came in really late looking for a room. He brought his own bottle of alcohol, and I think he just wanted to drink it, but then they were like, you can't bring your own alcohol in unless you're staying here and you drink it in your own room." He was like, "Fine, I'll give me a room." He signs in on, like, this little, like, card. He, like or, like, a piece of paperwork. He signs in, and he pays them in old-timey money.
Oh,
They're like, "This is fucking weird." I don't know why in that moment they didn't go, "We don't accept this
yeah,
money."
I'm like, they're like, "Visa, Mastercard" wait, what's that? A doubloon?
Coins? Yeah.
You can't pay for your room in doubloons?
Rubies? Wait a
A
minute.
ruby? Actually, I will take that, thank you.
So he checks in, he gives them what looks like old-timey money, but then they just let him up in the room. They're apparently, like, all around the same age, I guess, and they're all kind of vibing with each other, so the guy says, "Hey, when you guys get off your shift, you guys can come up to my room, we'll all get, like, fucked up together." And they're like, "Hell yeah." These were obviously 20-year-old
I
employees.
was like, "Really?" They're like, "Let's go to this strange man's room to drink." Okay, sure.
So they all do a little drinking, and at some
I've
point
done stupider things, I probably
he says, "Oh, like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. So, get out of my room while I go to the bathroom. But then when I'm done, you guys can come back and we'll keep drinking." So when The employees come back. Apparently, uh, he's gone, and all the cups they've been drinking out of are cleaned and as if they've been
Ew!
completely untouched. The trash can is empty. The bottle of rum is gone. He's gone. It looks like nobody has been in there the entire time.
Yuck.
And so they go downstairs and they're like, "Hey, did that guy check out?" And the desk clerk is like, "I don't know who you're talking about. I haven't seen anyone all night." And when they look at the paperwork that the guy signed, it's empty and his old-timey money is gone. So it's like they just had like this weird
That's
hallucination.
okay, so yeah, because also then I'm like, so do they feel tipsy at all? Like,
Yeah.
did the alcohol leave their system already? Like, it just vanished, you know?
Also part of me is like, so were you just up there like talking to yourself in an
Talking
empty
to
room?
and drinking out of empty cups, like, how creepy is
Like were
that?
you miming in an empty room?
Oh, and talking to someone who's not there?
Which feels a
Oh,
little possession-y.
it does, it feels very creepy.
So I say that to tell you that uh the only thing I have left to tell you is that there is an episode of GA where they very recently went to Congress Hotel. It was season 28, episode 4.
28.
I know. And fun fact, when this episode came out, the Hotel Congress had a watch party in the hotel.
Oh, even better.
They'll always find an event. They always got a reason.
A watch
Um,
party. That's so fun to sit to watch your own, like, workplace or whatever be on an episode of Ghost Adventures and get to watch it with all your coworkers. Like, that is so cool.
you know that Club Congress that night was playing Rhonda? Holy shit.
Rhonda.
They were playing Immortal Portal.
Immortal Portal. Oh my god. It's so
So
good.
here's why I mentioned that fifth bonus room, the one where the bathroom door keeps locking and they have to take the
Yeah.
door off the hinges. That doesn't get mentioned. That room gets mentioned, but no one mentions the bathroom or the door getting taken off the hinge, even though that was I only saw one source about that room at all, and it was the bathroom, and it was a
Weird.
one-liner, and that was it. However, even though there's 4 other major haunted rooms and 219 was like a throwaway line on one source I saw and barely considered a haunted room based on my notes. Ghost Adventures focuses pretty much solely on 219.
Weird.
I feel like their researcher saw that one line on that one website and went, "This is the most haunted room, we have to go there."
Yeah.
And ignored all the main ones, like the one with like the pinstripes and all this.
And it
So
wasn't
like,
even like the employees saying, "Hey, this is the room you gotta be in."
well, it was an assistant bar manager who told them that this is the most haunted room and people get possessed here all the time.
Oh god. So
And
I
that
fucking hate this.
they regularly have to call 911. What the fuck is 911 gonna do?
I am so sorry. What?
So I maybe it's true and there's just not a goddamn source anywhere on the internet about this. But maybe also this guy was a Zach fan and just kind of said something. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe they
Uh
wanted like a unique storyline, you know? Sometimes it feels like they are like looking for their own angle so that nobody else
mhm.
gets to say the same, like, you know, even if it's like fudging the truth.
Well, so this bar manager told them, yeah, so a couple was staying here and only the wife spoke English and then she came down in the middle of the night panicked and they were staying in 219, this obscure room I'm claiming to be haunted. And she came down and she said, "Something's wrong with my husband. He's speaking perfect English in a woman's voice, and he doesn't speak English."
Ew!
In a woman's voice, too. That is fucking
That's
creepy.
fucking terrible.
But also, like, why is that not the headline on every single goddamn source about this place?
Well,
You know what I
maybe because
mean?
it's a news story. I don't know. Maybe they
Maybe.
just tell it on the
Maybe.
tours and it just hasn't reached the internet yet, the blog sphere.
Well, apparently they're one of many, and it is very regular that people get possessed in here. Um, then of course they tell Zach about the fire and the Dillinger gang, and right after the guide says, "Oh yeah, they were trying to keep a low profile, that's why they were here." Of course, Zachary theorizes that the gang members set the fire themselves to burn bodies that they had as evidence.
Okay, he's really lost it. I mean, sometimes I'm like, okay, I get the angle. This one, no. Oh, I have a quick update about Zachary because I was recognized at the hot stuff slot machine. Long story as to why I don't have the tattoo yet. I'm gonna get it, don't worry, but it's been delayed. But I was sitting at the like hot one slot machine and or hot stuff slot machine, and this person comes up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, hi, like I'm not able to make it to the show, but we're here for my husband's work." And we went to the Zach Bagans museum. And I was like, oh, really? Like, how is it since I went, back in 2017? And she goes, well, he already has a video up saying that uh Aaron's hitman situation was due to like a
Oh my
possession
god.
or a demonic interference. And he literally has already put in the museum, apparently, a thing that says, right after I touched the Dybbuk box, uh, Aaron's wife was arrested for trying to kill him. And it's like,
Oh my
wait, why
god.
does it have to do with you touching? He's like,
Is
I
Aaron
touched
his
the.
friend in real life anymore? Like
I
that's
don't know.
feels
He apparently said like my producer Aaron found out after I touched the Dybbuk box. So it's like, are you saying it's your fault? Is
if
that
I
what you're
were Aaron,
saying?
I'd be like, "Can you back up for like a
Can
second,
you just give
please?"
me a month to grieve this horrible situation? But
Wow.
I heard that and I went, thank God somebody was able to check because I was sure of it, but they're very they hold up they hold their stuff
It
close to the
stands
vest.
true.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, thanks everyone for that update.
Yeah.
And so sorry for your tattoo that it will be on the way eventually.
She was in a car accident that morning and then I said, "Oh
It
my
was
God,
right when Zach touched the Dybbuk
Yeah,
box.
right. That's true. You're right. Um, and I said like, "Oh, no worries." Like, and they said, "I know you traveled for this appointment, so we'll try to reschedule." And I said like, "Well, I live in Cincinnati." And they said, "Oh, well, is that anywhere near Northern Kentucky because she's doing a Northern Kentucky tour in August." And I was like, they're like, "Are you near Covington?" And I'm like, "Yeah, only like 5 minutes." That's so weird. Anyway, so we're rescheduling, but a lot of weird synchronicities around it.
It's very weird.
Anyway, ghosts.
Um Ghosts, yes. So the only room that they do pay attention to that I mentioned is 242 where the woman died by suicide. Of course, that's the only room they pay attention to. And weirdly, as they're doing an interview about that room, a light turns off by itself.
Ooh.
He says he feels weird. He gets up and walks away. He's having a whole moment about it. And at the same time, there's like, I guess, a black shadow that was caught on camera next to him. So he, of course, runs with that. But they try going into room 242. He says he feels like he got pushed. He feels lightheaded. He walks out again. He does a lot of walking out of rooms
That
this time.
feels already like he was just really planning for a moody evening.
Yeah. But I will say, in the next spirit box session in that room where they're like, "Did you push Zach? And can we talk to you later?" They ask, "Can we talk to the ghosts later tonight?" And the spirit box very clearly, like as clearly as we speak, says, "No, leave."
Uh-oh.
Terrifying. Um, Later when talking about what's happened so far, and then they mention like, "Oh, that light turned off earlier." As they're
Right.
talking about that, another light turns off. It
Ew.
actually is kind of creepy.
Yeah,
Um,
yucko.
and then they talk about EVPs that they've gotten. One of the EVPs is super creepy where they get a woman saying sitting on as they're asking, "What are you sitting on?" And then another voice comes through and says, "Bed, I'm sitting." And it's very clear.
Ew.
And it's at the same time where they're using the thermal camera and they actually do get something sitting on the bed. It is actually creepy.
Yeah, it sounds creepy.
The next one I actually want to show you. So
Ooh,
I'm going to send you the link to the episode
lucky me.
and hopefully that worked.
It
But
seems to.
I'm going to tell you the time code.
Okay, got it. What's
Okay.
the time code?
So, well, to give you a context, later Zach hears footsteps and then he looks out into the hallway and he goes, "Hello." And you can very clearly hear someone say hello back. It's
Ew.
2740.
Yucko. All right, let's find it. 2740. We probably can't play this, right?
I don't know, but I would like your reaction anyway.
Okay.
Like it's so obviously someone else going,
It sounded like
"Hello?"
me. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck? That sounded like a producer or something,
It
but
sounded like
then
a person, but then they show you the
yeah,
cameras like
there's nobody
during that
there.
time and no one is there.
That's
But
actually really upsetting.
he really goes, "Hello?" And then you hear, "Hello?" Ah.
Listening
Um
one more time. The hello, and it's a very it's a much higher pitched voice. It's not like some sort of repetition of his. It's like,
no.
"Hello?" He goes like,
Uh-uh.
"Hello," and then you hear like Hello? Like, totally different intonation. Oh, yuck.
Even creepier, they then decide, like, they're gonna go investigate that, so they leave the room they were sitting in, and as they leave, like, their foot leaves the doorway, the lights turn on in the room by themselves. And
Ah!
them freaking out about it is so funny, it's
I think
exactly what we would
that's
be
when you
doing.
know, like, shit's actually happening because they actually get really scared and you're like,
Yes!
"Okay, they're not fucking with us right now." That actually did scare them.
Later on, in that same room where the light turns on by itself, they hear a thud, and they go back and they realize that, as you and I can attest, because we were just there, they have, like, a box, like a welcome box with, like, some snacks or something for
Mhm.
a piece of, like, a roll of, like, Lifesavers or mints or something, lifted itself out of the box and threw itself onto the floor.
What?
They're like, "What's that sound? I just heard something thud," and then they find candy on the floor that was definitely just in the basket.
Ew, I wonder what that's about.
Like, it was almost like to get their attention maybe? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know. But,
weird.
uh, some other things happen, they find things on the SLS. I did wanna let you know, though, that at the very end, the room that allegedly there's a lot of possessions in, Zachary ends the show by going in there, sitting on the bed, using a crucifix, and trying to cast out the spirits.
Oh
Um,
my god, give it
while
a
he's doing
rest.
it while he's doing that, there are EVPs of voices talking through it, so I like that they're unbothered completely.
They're
Anyway,
like, "Actually, can you keep it down?"
that is Hotel Congress. I'm sorry that was so long, but
I
I
cannot believe you did the notes while staying there. That makes it so much more special. Did you watch the Ghost Adventures episode while you stayed there?
yeah, it was actually nightmare fuel because it was actually scary and it happened, like, in the
Yeah,
hall.
they're not often, like, actually scary, so that's something. Wow.
Oy,
Well,
oy,
good
oy.
job! I feel like that was, like, the most timely episode we've ever done, besides the hitman situation that Zach caused with the Dybbuk box, you know?
That's true, that's true. Summer is just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot, spicy nope, that's not the sun. A hot take, let's leave it at that. Getting a summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. My mother
Ah!
would say that for sure, and she would
Your
agree.
mother would say, "I'm getting my hot bod and my savings bod."
Por qué no
I can
los
do
dos, Mint Mobile?
Mint Mobile offers premium wireless plans for just 15 bucks a month, so, like, you're already well on your way, okay?
Mhm, mhm, and all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing
It
contacts.
was really easy. They just, like, mailed a little kit and it was like, "Just call in and everything's transferred over, the end. Now you pay 15 bucks a month instead of, like, however many bajillions of dollars."
And we use it for when we were on tour too.
Yes, the iPad has been, a
A dream.
blessing. Eva doesn't have to run from backstage to bring me my notes because I can just look them up on the iPad.
This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank, says my mom and Mint Mobile. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/ATWWD. That's mintmobile.com/ATWWD.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, I have really big news. My friend Renee, who's had spring allergies all her life and does all those sounds like the like all the like horrible the horrible throat and ear sounds. She finally found an allergist and she went through ZocDoc, found an
Mm.
allergist, and then she showed me the picture and every single like little test needle was just like fully inflamed on her back
Oh
and
my
they're like,
gosh.
"Hey, you're desperately allergic to everything in Ohio." But thanks to ZocDoc, she knows that now and she can find relief. So I'm really thankful because they're just a really cool service and I've used them for years, but they're still making big changes in my personal life. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high quality in network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. And we're talking about booking in network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty from mental health, dental health, primary care, urgent care, allergists.
Once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a time slot that works for you, and click to instantly book a visit. I know I use them to get every single one of my medications I currently am on, and my life is significantly better. Thank you for that. And through ZocDoc, I ended up also finding my cardiologist. I mean, it has been a blessing.
Stop putting off those doctor appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/drink to find and instantly book a top rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/drink. ZocDoc.com/drink. Okay, so the story I have for you today is the story of Aliza Sherman. and we're gonna get into it. She was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1959 to Doris and Albert Zinn and was extremely close with her family. Her mom, Doris, was actually a survivor of Auschwitz,
Oh
and
shit.
she came out of Auschwitz having lost both her parents. Um, and she met Albert, her husband, after the war in a camp for displaced persons, and both of them had lost much of their families. So they bonded, they married, they immigrated to the US, settled in Cleveland, and they named Aliza after her maternal grandmother who had been killed in the Holocaust. So
Wow.
just a really tight knit and like, the kind of family where family is above all else,
Mhm.
very tight knit. Eliza's friends knew her as someone very compassionate and kind. She became a labor and delivery nurse and really, really loved working with mothers. A lot of parents and families were completely blown away by how just compassionate and what a good listener she was during labor, especially.
Well, I imagine if your family has such like immediate
Mhm.
ties to the Holocaust, all you have after that is compassion for others. I
Right.
would
I mean, it's a beautiful thing that it like can turn like that, something so bad into something beautiful. And she really was a very, very, very like the amount of people who have been just even Saoirse said it like during research, like the amount of people who wanted to say something just beautiful and positive about Lisa. And this is a great example here. Apparently, Elisa's presence had such an impact on one mother during labor that her own mother, who was in the room, so the grandmother of the new baby, suggested she name the baby after Elisa, and she did.
Oh my
And
god.
so it was like she helped this woman give birth, and she named her daughter after you. Like
Wow.
that's I know that's like how great of a person she was.
Like everyone aspires to be seen as
Agreed,
that
right?
good.
Like,
Yeah.
just real well, not everyone, but
Mm. I do. I would
I
love to
know, me
be
too, me
that
too.
well loved.
Me too, me too. That's the dream, and she really was. So at home in the suburbs of Cleveland, Eliza created a welcoming home. She was one of those people that let anyone in at all times. She always had, like, snacks and drinks ready to go for anybody who came over. She married this guy named Sanford Sherman, and he was an eye surgeon whose parents were also survivors of the Holocaust. So they had very similar kind of ties in that way. And he could understand the ways in which Eliza's family history shaped her life, and that was important to her. She was completely dedicated to fostering community in her life. Her house became a social spot. I mean, that made sense with all the snacks and things that she's always
Mhm.
having out for kids. There was always candy around for the kids. And Aliza didn't just support her own family and community, she actually became the coordinator for in vitro fertilization at Cleveland Clinic. And the
Wow.
Cleveland Clinic is a big deal. I don't know if you know about the Cleveland Clinic, but they are one
No.
of the top medical, I don't know, medical places, hospital. I don't know the right word, clinics, I guess.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, in the country.
Oh,
And
really?
it's a really Cleveland Clinic. They do a lot of specialized care. Um, and so she became the coordinator for IVF at the Cleveland
Oh,
Clinic.
wow.
And just like her when she was a labor and delivery nurse, her IVF patients and their families adored her. One person who knew her said she had found her calling, helping
Mm.
families with struggling with infertility. So as Eliza thrived at work, she struggled at home with her life with Sanford. Her brother Edward said there was always tension in the marriage, that perhaps the two of them weren't right for each other, and Eliza considered divorce, but like what we were saying earlier about how family and compassion is everything, she really struggled with the idea of having to tell her parents that she was getting divorced and that her,
Mm.
she basically somebody even mentioned on the show on a docuseries I watched about her that her parents had gone through the Holocaust and she thought like, well, I can get through this for the sake of my family, if my
That has to
parents
be
went
so tough though of
right,
like
like the bar is impossible.
so yeah,
It's impossible.
the bar is you should tolerate everything
Right, it's like
because
that pressure, yeah, that, like, internal pressure, and
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, I'm assuming her parents weren't putting that pressure on her intentionally, but I
No,
imagine
but
that
the
must be hard.
comparison game must be a
Mhm,
nightmare.
and so, finally, after 30 years of marriage, Eliza bit the bullet, she filed for divorce. It was June 2011, and it took a while, the negotiations were slow going. She spent about 2 years going back and forth through their attorneys with Sanford, and more than that, things had gotten very weird in her life, sometimes even menacing, like
Mm.
really strange things started happening. So Eliza's brother Edward said that something heavy had been thrown through her car window while she was visiting their mother. Her tires were punctured on two of her vehicles in the driveway at the same time.
Oh,
In 2012, she received a threatening message at work. Just a lot of stress inducing events that were causing her to lose sleep and feel very, very on edge.
yeah.
By the time negotiations were nearing an end in early 2013, Aliza was basically like, I'm so done with this. I need to move on. And everybody was thrilled for her. They were saying she was so ready for like a new lease on life. She had, these decades of tension and stuff. And now she was able to, look forward and focus on her job and her kids. And she was so, so thrilled. So let's jump to Sunday, March 24th. This is a few days before the court date.
Mhm.
And Eliza was scheduled to go over final details with her divorce attorney, Gregory Moore. So Gregory said, okay, come to my office. It was downtown Cleveland. And Eliza said, okay, I'm going to run some errands and I'll be back this afternoon with pizza. But while she was out, Gregory rescheduled the meeting. And so she had to meet with him in the evening. And when she finally arrived, it was 5 p.m. And you and I talked about this briefly, but, like, in towns like Cleveland and Cincinnati, when it's not, like, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, downtown is dead, like, there's nothing going
Yeah.
on. It's, like,
It's like
empty.
industrial.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
almost just, like even, like, the restaurants all close, like because there's nobody there. Um,
Mhm.
so this is Cleveland's very similar. So she's downtown, meeting her lawyer, and she gets there around 5 PM and realizes the entrance door to the building is locked. And she's already, like, kind of on edge, and she texts him, and he's like, "Oh, shoot, okay, I'll come down to let you in." Meanwhile, back at home, Eliza's family doesn't realize that this has been rescheduled a couple times, so they're waiting for her to come home with dinner,
Oh.
and when she didn't show up, they start texting and calling her, getting no response, and they kinda all touch base with each other and realize nobody had heard from Eliza in hours. So
Uh-oh.
it was about 9 PM. They're all getting, more and more nervous by the minute. And a police officer calls one of the family members and asks that the entire family gather at Eliza's home as soon as possible.
Oh, shit.
Police officers arrived to meet them and told them that Eliza was dead. She had been viciously attacked at the office door outside the building, and a man in a nearby building had rushed to her side when he heard her screams. He
Mm.
found her bleeding badly. She had been stabbed 11 times by
Oh
somebody.
my god.
And the
Oh my
killer
god.
escaped while the witness stayed with Eliza, and she apparently tried to speak to him, but he couldn't understand what she was trying to say. And she was transported to the ER where she was pronounced dead at 6:14 p.m. And she was just 53 years old with a lot of life ahead of her.
53. Wow.
So this was a devastating loss. I mean, it wasn't just her family, but entire communities had lost somebody important to them. Um, Her mom, they had to tell her mom. It's just a horrible
And
thing,
her mom already, I mean,
Went through Auschwitz? Yeah.
the I mean, the incomparable, and lost both of her parents to violence,
Mhm.
probably other family members to violence, in the same way, and now she's lost
And
her
then you
daughter.
feel like you're finally safe and have a stable home and a beautiful free life, and it's like, this just comes out. It really it's
I
horrifying.
I would never blame that woman for just being bitter for the rest of her
I
life. Like,
mean,
I can't.
yeah, it feels like such a hard thing to even comprehend,
Yeah.
let alone go through. And her brother had to tell their mom, and Eliza and her mom spoke every single day, so they were very close. It was just impossible for anybody to comprehend. This was a really brutal attack. It was in daylight. The killer didn't take anything. She still had her purse and her jewelry on, so it wasn't a robbery.
Mm.
Investigators discovered surveillance footage from a camera on a nearby building, which captured the suspect running to attack Eliza, like frantically, and then fleeing. And so it was like they clearly had premeditated. This is premeditated because like they ran toward her, or
Yeah.
at least it was targeted somehow.
Yeah.
When Eliza stood as close as she could to the door to avoid the cold, An unknown person just ran directly to her, attacked her in a frenzy, ran away, and it looked like the killer was just looking for her specifically, and that was the goal, and then they just pieced out because they didn't take anything, they didn't rob her, nothing like that, no sexual assault. They were starting to think this may not have been a senseless random attack, but maybe premeditated. And
Do you
although
think it could have been like a hate crime because she's Jewish? Like, could it been?
it's a really interesting point.
I don't know. I feel like
Could be.
I'm
That
only
was
because I mean that it's not that far away
It's
from
not
when
unheard
people were
of,
just in
sure. Yeah.
Auschwitz or something, because
Yeah, no, I that's an interesting angle. I wonder if they did look at that. I'm not sure. Although the attack was captured on camera, the killer's identity couldn't be determined because they were wearing all black and it was a jacket with a hood over the face, long pants. They were like wearing these it looked like lots of layers, so you couldn't see their hands, their face, just completely covered. And even though police did a wide search of the area, they checked dumpsters, sewers, alleys, rooftops for the murder weapon, but they couldn't find it anywhere. And when they checked all the blood collected at the scene, it all belonged to her, even though she had defensive wounds on her hands. So just pretty crazy. There was not a single smidgen of evidence left behind. They somehow managed to attack her, stab her 11 times, and leave behind no evidence. And so investigators were shocked. Um, they thought this was a big break in the case, getting this surveillance footage, and now they're realizing, like, oh, we're kind of back to square one. Those close to Aliza went to group grief counseling because they were just
hmm
so devastated as a community.
wow.
Edward said the grief was the worst pain he had ever experienced in his life. His That's her brother. It was painful enough for Eliza's community to try and make sense of what had happened, but to realize like they might not even get answers as to who did this was
Yeah.
another blow. A year after Eliza was killed, her daughter Jennifer Sherman filed a civil suit against her father.
Wow.
So Sanford
Interesting.
Sherman was sued. In the suit, he was accused of forging Aliza's signature and using a fraudulent power of attorney to move and hide over $2 million from Aliza over a 10-year
Oh.
period.
Oh.
Aliza had apparently learned about the account and the money during divorce proceedings when she hired a forensic accountant to investigate her family's finances. So this
Hmm.
was all kind of coming to light.
Okay.
The civil suit also revealed other troubling truths about Eliza's marriage to Sanford. In emails to her lawyer, she said that she was terrified of him. In one email, she wrote, Sanford will stop at nothing to hurt me. I don't think I will ever be safe.
Wow. Okay.
Hmm. In a deposition, Larry Shanker, a retired police officer and friend of Sanford's, stated that Sanford asked him repeatedly how a person could commit murder without being caught.
Hmm.
And I watched this questioning or this deposition, and they're like, did he say it repeatedly? He said, oh, he said it repeatedly. Like,
That's
he
fucking
asked a lot
crazy.
of times. Yeah.
Oh my
Larry
gosh.
claimed that Sanford asked this question more than 10 times, and that Larry explained that a murderer should avoid. So basically, Larry's like, yeah, and then I kind of answered his question, and I said, well, if you're going to murder someone, you should avoid using your car, which could be seen. You should conceal your face and hands. You should never use a gun because that can be heard, and you should never wear your street clothes because they'll be recognized.
Oh.
Sanford claims he never asked any of that and has no idea what his friend is talking about.
Typical. Typical. Typical.
Classic.
Okay.
The suit also revealed that police responded to over 15 domestic disturbances at the Sherman house in the years Eliza and Sanford were married.
15?
15.
No wonder that woman was terrified. Oh my god.
Exactly. In 2011, Eliza told officers reporting to a domestic disturbance that Sanford said he was, quote, going to get her and that she didn't feel safe with him.
I mean, am I allowed to fully think am I going to am I wrong to say out loud publicly that I got a hunch
You can say
about
you've got a hunch.
okay, I got a hunch that I don't think it was a hate crime anymore. I think a completely different story.
Before Eliza filed for divorce, she began sleeping downstairs in a separate bedroom with a bolt lock on the door. That's how much she wanted her privacy and safety.
I mean, come on.
Although although things looked bleak for Sanford, he was not named an official suspect in Eliza's death. He settled the suit for $110,000 in 2016 on the condition that his daughter release him from future civil claims unless he was charged for involvement in Eliza's murder. So basically, his own daughter was not able to sue him again unless it came out that he was involved with the
Wow.
death of her mother.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that same year, investigators noticed a few discrepancies between stories. They were looking into everybody's alibi for that day, and they realized that her divorce attorney, Gregory Moore, had lied about his whereabouts on the day Aliza was killed. Because
Hmm.
if you think about it, there's one thing from that opening where she was killed that, like, really kind of also struck me as odd, which is why did a stranger from another building respond to Aliza's screams for help when Gregory was coming downstairs to let her inside? And
Hmm.
why was he nowhere in sight, when this all happened? So they checked phone and keycard records,
That's a good
which
point.
revealed that Gregory was not in the building at all that day, that
Well,
evening,
ding, ding, ding. I mean,
before, during, or after the attack. So why
hmm.
would he invite her there, even after rescheduling twice? Told her, "Oh, I'm inside, I'll come down," when he was
Hmm.
not inside, and told her to wait for him when he knew he would never come. He ultimately faced charges for telling the same lie to police about his whereabouts that day and was facing legal trouble for calling in, get this, bomb threats to courthouses when he was unprepared for a court date.
I mean, this feels like a cut and dry situation here. I don't even know why we're covering it. There's no mystery to be found.
You had
There's
a hunch a minute ago, though.
I had
Going back.
the hunch. No, the hunch is hmm. Well, now I don't know anymore. God damn it! Keep going.
So he was also okay. So he's facing legal troubles for postponing trials that he wasn't prepared for by calling in bomb threats. He served 6 months in county jail where he was uncooperative with investigators who tried to talk to him about Eliza's case. Meanwhile, Sanford had moved away to a nursing care facility in Florida, and in 2014 he passed away. Apparently, he had also been fully uncooperative with Eliza's case and wanted nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2024, Jennifer, the daughter, partnered with the Cleveland Clinic to create the Aliza Sherman Fund. And according to the fund's webpage, which is still accepting donations, at least originally when we did these notes a few weeks ago, all money raised through the Aliza Sherman Fund will directly support the needs of Cleveland Clinic patients and caregivers who have experienced violence. And I love that it includes patients and caregivers who are
Mm-hmm.
part of the Cleveland Clinic. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to read you. This is like this might be a first, also M in and that's why you drink history.
Uh
Maybe
oh.
I have the original notes and how they ended, and then last night, when I was just doing one more sweep of the story, there had been an update on the case in,
Oh
like, the 2
shit!
weeks that
What are the
between when
odds?
Saoirse started the research or a few actually, it might have been more weeks, but, since when I got them to today. So, here's the original end of the notes. Eliza's case remains open with the Ohio BCI Cold Case Unit, and there is a $100,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest or conviction. Here are the new notes. There's an article from May 4th, 2025 on ABC. Authorities announce arrest in 2013 cold case murder of Cleveland nurse.
Get out.
Ohio authorities said they've solved the more than decade-old fatal stabbing of a Cleveland Clinic nurse, announcing recent murder charges against her former divorce attorney who already served jail time for lying to police during the investigation. Moore was indicted on charges for murder, aggravated murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy, according to documents unsealed Friday. He was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Texas, where he remained in custody Sunday, according to online reports. According to Friday's indictment, Moore allegedly planned to kidnap Sherman as a delay tactic for her upcoming divorce trial. So,
What?
like, all the bomb threats he's calling in, he's going to kidnap her to, like, delay the trial?
I don't believe that.
That's a unhint. The unsealed documents include messages between Moore and Sherman showing how he called her to the office, which was locked. She arrived and waited over an hour before deciding to return to her car, according to the indictment. During this
Hmm.
time frame, an individual who was either Moore or an unknown co-conspirator approached Sherman, circled behind her, chased her, and then stabbed her over 10 times, the
Oh my
indictment
god.
reads. Moore swiped into the office later that evening and messaged Sherman to mislead investigators, according to the indictment. And then this is the last quote I want to end with. By the way, those were direct quotes from the ABC article. I have a quote here. This is from the Cleveland Jewish News, and it's her brother Edward who said, "I'm in shock because after 12 years, you don't expect it. The best
Yeah.
word to sum up my feelings at this point would be bittersweet. Glad they got the person, but the memories are painful."
Yeah, I mean, I am always blown away when after 6 months,
Yes.
a case is still being paid attention to.
Yes.
I would have thought for sure, well, it's just I'm just never gonna learn anything.
And I was so confused. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry. That was Harry, her brother Harry, not Edward, who
Okay.
said that. But I just also want to say it's so weird because I'm looking through the notes and then I'm looking through the articles online and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I look at the date and I'm like, oh my God, Saoirse finished these like 2 days before all these articles came
It
out.
really couldn't have come for
Really weird
only for
timing.
us at a
Yeah,
better
I know,
time.
I know.
It absolutely could have come at a better time, but it
For
for
sure.
us, it came at a great time.
Yeah, that was really wild. I'm just so glad I thought well, and if we had, put out that live episode, I would have posted it
Yeah.
probably would have recorded it before the changes, so, at least that, was able to be updated on time, so, anyway, tragic, tragic story, and I was talking to Search about it, and, like, they said, "Oh, I wonder what the motive was," and it's like, I guess to delay the case, but that seems so extreme, and then I thought to myself, "Well, I guess if the husband was also not I mean, who knows? Maybe he paid him like, maybe they were in cahoots, right? Like,
Yeah, maybe.
he knew that his wife found out about the $2 million he was stealing. He
I don't know, yeah.
he knew her lawyer was up to some shady shit. Maybe they worked together. I don't know. Just a theory. We'll see. Maybe more will come out as the trials and all that gets going. So we'll see.
Oh my gosh, well, great timing for your little story, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm just glad
So,
it got
we might get
I
some
do so many
answers.
cold cases. It's exciting to get like an actual
I know.
timely fix, timely
I'm
answer.
I'm used to trying to crack the case as you read
Mhm.
the notes.
You did get a few hunches, so you were onto something there, I
I
think,
I
but
did have a few hunches, but wow, okay. Well, I'm glad that there's gonna be some justice maybe.
yeah, let's hope, and maybe some more information.
Well, thank you everyone for another rousing weekly episode of And That's Why We Drink. If you would like more of us talking, and specifically us talking about our tour now that we can finally tell you our secrets, our dirty little secrets, you can head over to Patreon for our Yappy Hour.
That's right, there's a lot to discuss, so we'll see you there.
And
That's
why
we
drink?